What's up, guys? I don't know if you guys saw or not, but I posted earlier. Actually, a good friend of mine, Dr. Stephanie Rimka, posted earlier that we're going to have a little short talk. And it's it's an interesting topic. We're going to talk about moobs, also known as man boobs. Gynecomastia. There's another term for it, which is a little crude. I won't say that. But it's going to be interesting, okay? And so it's going to be a short little talk, something I thought you guys would find interesting. It's an interesting follow-up because, for those of you who followed my journey when I did my 90-day transformation, which ended on July 20th, the day of my wedding, I had the moobs, I had the man boobs. And when I look at my before pictures, I'm like, oh, man, like, how does this even happen? You know what I mean? Who's there? What's up, Jesse? What's up, Joe Kruger? And so, it's one of those things, and I didn't quite understand like why. And when I was in Las Vegas, I had a conversation with Stephanie, with Dr. Rimka, and she's like, I know exactly why, and there's a lot of solutions for that, and it's actually something that I could teach on. I'm like, well, why don't we just hop on a Facebook Live and talk about it, because that would be pretty cool, and I think a lot of people would like that. So I'm waiting for her to join us. In fact, let me make sure she's not watching, guys. Hang on one second. What's up, Paul? Hang on a second. Let me see. Guest requests. Boo. Invite friends. There we go. RIMK. Here we go. Invite. She should be joining us here shortly. And I think we're good to go with that. Okay. All right, cool. Anyway, is that her? Hang on a second. She might be right there. Here we go. There she is.
What's up?
So I voted on your picture, by the way.
Oh, did you? I didn't read it yet. I missed it.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
It was hard to choose from. I have to say, there were so many great shots. It was a little hard to choose from, but it was cool.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of sides to all of us, right? We all have a lot of masculine and feminine and all blended in, and I think I like to play with it. Not everybody plays with it as much, but, we'll see.
Absolutely.
It was all about the men's group getting it going, so I was like, oh yeah, let me put a little energy on that. I probably won't pick a single one of those pictures, actually.
You could go with like the highest voted or whatever, but they were all good.
Yeah, well, I'll put something. I'll probably, I have quite a few bodybuilders as patients and models, and I'll probably go, hey guys, can I have one of your pretty body pictures as a favor to me?
Right.
And I'm sure some of them will release them, so that's probably what I'm just going to ask patients, to be honest.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah.
So
real men.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. I know we're going to keep this really short tonight.
Yeah, You're in charge of time.
Yeah, well, what I did is I think I messed up, because when I said let's do 7:30, then you posted 7. I'm like, oh, so I moved my 7 to 7:30. So, but we're good. We're good.
My bad. Sorry.
That's all right. You have really good lighting. Is it like light out where you are? Where the hell are you?
I'm sitting on my front porch. Patio. Yeah, I like to be outside. I like natural light as much as possible to protect me from what's happening with the screen. So you'll see I'm wearing those glasses when I'm in front of a screen inside.
Right,
but if I'm outside, I feel safer in doing that.
Gotcha. I have fake light on, so just to kind of.
We got to start protecting you. I got to get you in my men's group and teach you some shit.
I got to learn. And,
it's okay. Baby steps. Baby steps.
You know how you go to the eye doctor and they're like, what's better, this or this?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, what looks better lighting-wise, this or this? Or this?
I like warm. Well, that one's pretty good. But I like warm. I don't like cool.
Like
That's
that?
a little too much. But I do like that. I like sun. I like the look of what sun is on you.
How's that?
So, yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a new light. I bought it from Ray Hickman. It's a ring light. It's pretty
cool.
cool.
That's what I use. I use Ray's.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay. So let's talk about the crude word, bitch tits. Okay.
I've never heard that one.
Yeah, that's pretty crude. I wasn't going to say that, but I like to keep things raw and real, because all my friends growing up, like whenever somebody would get fat, like, oh, dude, you got bitch tits. Well, okay. It's called gynecomastia. I guess that's like the medical term, right?
Well, that's a real kind of disorder. I think a lot more men are dealing with the man boobs or moobs. We joke about the dad bod and the moobs, the mad boobs. That's the other thing is it's a bigger hormonal issue, but the moobs or the bitch tits, that is leading it's a really big sign of a really big problem that I don't think people address enough. And you
Okay,
had
so that's
posted
question
something
number
about it.
one.
Okay.
Doctor, what causes this in men? Like specifically, what's the cause of that? Because I know a lot of guys are embarrassed about it. And in all seriousness, you gain some weight and fine, your belly picks out. You love handles a little bit. But when
Okay.
that happens up here, it's really embarrassing for a man. So what causes
Sure.
it?
Absolutely. No different than if women start growing facial hair, right?
Yeah.
So, well, very clearly, there's a hormonal imbalance of some sort. There's a hormonal discommunication, dysregulation somewhere. In general, what you're going to see is too low testosterone and probably too high estrogen. Okay, that's like a woman's body. All
Yeah.
right. So there's a lot more that happens than just that physical distortion. I want to point out when men get lower testosterone than they're supposed to, and just that alone is a whole risk factor in and of itself that deals with emotional instability, mood swings, anxiety, depression, weepiness, anxiety and panic can come from that, bone density issues, which that's dangerous.
Yeah.
You are at much higher risk of a cardiovascular event with low testosterone. You're at much higher incidence of having cognitive decline and impairment, much higher risk of any other kind of metabolic disorder, such as metabolic disorder or diabetes or some other insulin resistance. So it's actually a really serious problem to have that. And I can't tell you how many men I've had come to me, oh, my light went out, that, I am using a ring light too, that come to me with, they've been diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and they've been given a psychiatric medication, and it turns out it's simply low T and high estrogen. And if we just address that at a causal level, it's really not a mental health issue. It expresses itself that way, but that man is not dealing with actually depression from any psychosocial matter, and giving a neurotransmitter reuptake medication was the absolute wrong choice when you should have been optimizing his hormones. But it's not tested commonly as some matter of fact thing for men, and I'm kind of surprised at that.
So let me ask you this more specifically, and that makes a lot of sense. But I guess from the reading that I've done, and this is kind of where I'm looking to you as the expert, my understanding is that diet could play a large role in that. And I've read everything from if men should stay away from soy products, you should stay away from plastic water bottles, things of that nature. Certain deodorants, I guess, non-natural deodorants could raise estrogen levels, things like that. So there's the environment, there's your deodorants, there's your food. In your opinion, what really causes that?
So you're on point with a number of these things. So let me say this just about testosterone. So the big things like with a man I would be looking at were testosterone, estrogen, and HGH at a minimum on him. And like, where are we with those things? Because they work together. Um, there was, we don't have all the numbers and everything, but just actually I was curious about, because I'm seeing patients come in with really low numbers sometimes. If a man is walking in at 35 years old with a 300 or 350, that's incredibly low. And I'll joke, like, I got more testosterone than you. That's a problem.
Right.
That shouldn't be the situation. And again, I want to say it more from just a body image, issue. It really does give men a sense of strength, power, masculinity, and dominance. Testosterone levels in a room will decide who the alpha is. It's a real thing. So when you see these low numbers, like, okay, so so let me look up. So the Massachusetts, there was a study that just looked at men and just looked at testosterone numbers. And they looked at it 3 times, basically 1988, 1996, and 2005, wrote it down. So you've got like a 15-year time span that they looked at the median testosterone level in a certain age group. And it went from 501 was your median lab value in like 1988.
Which are still low, right?
Well, 350 to 1200 is that range. So I would like men in the higher, normal, but for a median, and this was an older population, like 45 to 70 or something like that, 501's not too bad. That's median, which means there are men who are rocking 1200. Okay, and there were some men that were below. 1988. Then they looked at it again, 1996. It went down 66 points, the median to 435. This is Massachusetts male population, controlled, right? Looked at it again in 2005, So this is not that long. It's not even 10 years after that second. It went down to 391, down another 44 points. So from 1988 to 2005, roughly 15 years, it went down 110 points median testosterone level in this large group of men. And we're seeing this across the board. And it is really disturbing to me that more physicians are not looking at testosterone right away with men if they're coming in complaining of fatigue, low energy, loss of interest in life. You know, testosterone gives you excitement for living, actually. Well, we call that depression now, and we medicate people, right? So without getting to the problem, so then it keeps going down and down and down. Now now we've gone to, like, we've lost bone density, which makes you anemic, which makes you more tired, which makes you more depressed. It just can snowball really quickly. So in general, numbers have gone down and down. Why? You kind of said that. Well, what's the deal? We don't totally know, but this is diet is a huge issue. Activity level, exercise is a huge issue. So our way of being inactive makes muscle mass go down, which changes our testosterone signal. So everybody's just comfortable. You know, you don't do hard labor anymore. Nobody does, really. You probably don't cut your grass. You probably don't fix your car. You probably don't fix your own roof. You know, at least the way men in 1950s were at least working, even if they went to an office, they did a lot of physical stuff in their yard and other things. You know what I mean? Chopping down trees. You know, now we do nothing. The sign of success is to do zero physical labor. You don't clean your house. You know what I mean? That's the sign of success. You got a lawn guy, I got a roof guy, I got a house guy, I got a pool guy, got a mechanic. Men don't actually do it. You know what I mean? They're not sweating very much unless they go to expensive gyms, right? So yes, you're right on point. Diet, looking at ways that lower testosterone and ways that are increasing estrogen are things like, there's a lot of things in the phytoestrogen category. Soy is a massive estrogen signal, massive to the body. Flax is huge. Walnuts are huge. Peanuts are huge. White bread is huge. There's very big signals. For an example, we look at nanograms of estrogenic activity per 500 grams of food. It's kind of a table you could look up. Give you an idea. Beef will be 7 nanograms for 500 grams. Eggs are going to be like 555 nanograms. Peanuts are going to go to 100,000 nanograms. White bread will give you 130,000 nanograms. Guess what tofu does to you?
What?
1 million.
Wow.
So let's look at steak, 7 nanogram estrogenic activity. Tofu, 1 million nanogram. Do you see the difference in what type of signal that tells a body, male or female?
And that signal, basically, specifically for men, is creating or raising estrogen and lowering testosterone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I don't love it when men are doing flax and flaxseed oil and soy. I eliminate all that. I always have for years before, just because I knew what it did to estrogen and lower testosterone. So there's that. There's also, again, so the lack of activity and really radical change in muscle mass men have is lowering it. Then we just don't really understand the toxin issue, the level of chemicals. But if you look at those numbers, 110 points down in a median testosterone level for just an average group of men out in American population, something is happening. Yeah. Something is going on. And those plastics you talk about, those are called xenoestrogens. So xenoestrogens are estrogens that come from these plastics, another whole class of chemicals. And if you're eating food out of plastic containers, particularly if it's hot. So if you heat up anything in something plastic, styrofoam, you're drinking coffee out of a plastic cup out of styrofoam. Yeah. If you're putting that in a microwave and then eating it, you're getting a tremendous amount of xenoestrogens and you're altering your hormonal signals tremendously. This happens for women as well. It's just we're talking about what it does to men. And there's, some really bottled water.
Well, bottled everything. I mean, you think about
bottled everything. But people are consuming, when you were a kid, we're the same age roughly. I didn't see a bottle of water. There was no bottle of water in the universe to be bought.
Right.
You drank out of a hose in someone's front yard if you were thirsty, if you couldn't get inside. But you couldn't stop at a grocery store and buy a bottle of water. Plastic bottles are everywhere, and we do know microbeads of plastic are contained within it. That's been proven now. People are actually drinking so much plastic beads. It's unbelievable. They're clogging up livers and other things. But just that alone, even if there wasn't, you're getting xenoestrogens, getting estrogen mimickers telling your body to increase estrogen. You think it thinks it's all this estrogen there, and you get estrogen activity. And it's really altering men in terms of their strength physically, in their bones, in their muscle, and in their brain performance, and their emotional stability, right?
So,
And their confidence and their courage. And I don't want a bunch of unstable, weak, afraid men walking around on this earth interacting with me and my son. You know,
right.
it's not good for you or your kids either.
And I know it's funny because, I have 5 children, 5 boys.
Oh,
We
God.
talked about you and your son and the culture and all these different things.
Yeah.
One thing that came up, and it's interesting because I kind of figured this out on my own, but I wanted your take on it here live, and it may not be the most popular topic. A lot of people may tune off when I start to talk about this.
Oh, boy.
It's alcohol.
Yeah.
When I went on my 90-day transformation, I lost 30 pounds, and I went from being pretty much the dad bod fat. I mean, I wasn't obese or anything, but I was just like frumpy and flat.
Yeah.
And everything. I mean, I had the man boobs. When I stopped drinking alcohol, everything changed. Like I went 90 days with 0, not a drop. And I started looking on Dr. Google. But what I found out is that if a man drinks alcohol, and I'm not talking excessive amounts, I'm saying even like every weekend, the weekend warrior, it has a severe impact. Number one, it decreases your testosterone, but it raises your estrogen. So, and it's funny because I look back on, I'll be 45 this month, and I look back my whole life, the times that I've gotten in the best shape of my life is when I completely quit drinking. And I'm not sitting here for the guys that are about to turn off right now. Sure. I'm not saying you don't have to quit drinking, but what are your thoughts on alcohol consumption for a man and these moves or this testosterone estrogen balance? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's certainly playing a part. It does that as well as lowers HGH, and T and growth hormone work synergistically together. Testosterone augments the power of HGH inside your cells, actually. So you want high T if you're trying to increase growth hormone as well, both anti-aging, strong things. So alcohol is for me, it's just a straight up neurotoxin. Doesn't mean it's not pleasurable and all those things, but I am not sold on the little bit of benefits that a little bit of red wine actually give you in terms of resveratrol, that if you really want that, you could just go eat some grapes. I do think in general, it's toxic to the brain. It's a neurotoxin. It causes a lot of neural death. It causes hormone disruption. It really is one of the most powerful brain dysregulation things in terms of mood and control. Any ER physician will tell you, a drunk in the ER is much more dangerous than anybody else, than somebody coming in on meth or something like that.
And I heard beer is the worst of all for men, that there's something in beer specifically that really messes up your hormones.
I don't know about that. I mean, I know there's a lot of gluten. If it's certain alcohols are gluten and some are not.
Right.
I don't know about that one. I would be good to look it up. But yeah, I'm not a fan. And you'll notice, like, if you follow any peak performers, like in my kind of functional medicine world, such as a Ben Greenfield, Dave Asprey, Mark Sisson, whatever. It doesn't mean they don't like a little bit of wine, and we're all selling dry farms now and all that. But in general, like somebody like a Dave and all that, what they'll say on the side is like, yeah, we don't really, like, we do alcohol once or twice a year because you cannot get the same muscle results. You can't get the same cognitive results. You can't stay in control of your mood and stability. It's called, and then the kind of spiritual aspect, it's called spirits. And some of the shaman and stuff I've studied with, they look at alcohol as a really dangerous, it's a stealer of your soul. And so we go to the place with distillers, they're distilling spirits. Like, they don't like it. They much prefer plants like cannabis. They'd be like, well, why don't you just marijuana, acid, mushrooms? Yeah. They're like, if you want an altered state, there are much safer ways. And I will tell the truth. I flat out told that to my son. I said, I don't want you doing any of this stuff. I said, but when you get old enough, once you're 25 and your brain is done, because without a doubt, cannabis is better for you than drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
No, the evidence is so clear. One protects your brain, one damages your brain. Both are not good for children, though.
Right. Right.
And I'm
No,
clear on that.
of
So
course.
yeah, you're right. It absolutely alters it. It absolutely lowers all of it. And, you know, I think some of it is because men are walking around with really unoptimized hormones and they need something to make them feel good. You know what I mean? And if you
Mentally,
have these, pardon?
like mentally, basically, like physically, mentally.
Yeah, they can't adapt to the stressors of life because of the low T or the high estrogen and the low HGH and everything else. They can't, you know, and their big bellies making them more insulin resistant and leptin resistant. Their blood sugar, therefore, they're at the mercy and victim of blood sugar and having snacks and carbs all the time. You know, they're not able to keep up with other people and activities, and so they're exhausted, and they're looking for something to make them feel good, and that's really easy, and it's socially acceptable and
Yeah.
promoted everywhere.
Right.
Like that's the thing to do to fit in. And I, you know, I enjoy alcohol. I enjoy, so I get it, and I've gone years of not drinking it and then choose to drink it, and you know what I mean. But it's nothing good for my health, and I don't
Yeah.
think anybody should be delusional in that. And when people will do something like that, take a break, they're like, holy crap, this is amazing. And then they might make a choice to be like, I mean, I've seen people, I'm sure you've done it, they're like, I'm going to eat this birthday cake thing right now, I know I'm going to have a headache tomorrow and I don't care. Okay, I mean, pay the
Right.
price, you know. Like sometimes I am sure you might have been at a strip club till 4 in the morning before in your life and said, I'm sure this is not going to be good tomorrow, but we're doing this
Well,
tonight,
I know
you
people
know?
who are lactose intolerant, like, you know what? I'm going to pay the price, but I'm going to eat this pizza regardless because I really want it. It's
Yeah. It's
right.
all a choice. I'm not here to be your mama or your police.
We're
I'm
not here
just
to
here to
judge anybody.
inform you. I'm here to inform you, and you can make the choices you want to make, but at least be empowered in that choice, and at least be able to go to the doctor and say, actually, can you run this lab for me?
Yeah.
Maybe I don't need Prozac, maybe I need testosterone optimization.
Right.
And the only reason your doctor's probably not doing that is because they have no education in how to do it. And so you
Right.
might need to find a new doctor, but you know, that kind of thing.
So let me ask you this. I know I only have about 5 minutes left, but
Okay.
the most important question for you after all
Okay.
this,
Oh,
what's
okay.
what's the solution?
Well, some of the things, so I would go with you should eat like a man, like a human being, like a man is supposed to eat.
And what does that look
Men,
like?
um, if I took a bunch of 20 guys and I put them out in the field and I made them work on a farm for like 10 hours a day, what do you think they're going to come in and really say they want?
Me, I would say a steak, personally.
That's what they're going to say. They're all going to say they want some meat. They're going
Right.
to want fatty meat with some butter, cooking in some lard, throw some eggs on top of it.
Right.
Okay. Um, and that might make me incredibly unpopular. I don't care. And I flat out said this to patients. I'm like, so you're eating a little bit of chicken breast on a salad with it. These guys will describe what they're eating. And I go, so, you know, you have the hormones of your wife because you're trying to eat like her. I said, I
Right.
said, I go, do you like steak? They're like, oh, well, I
And a
love
little
it.
tofu on the side.
Right? And they're all trying to go vegetarian. I would say
Right.
absolutely do not become a vegetarian. You need an insane amount of protein, and the best protein source on earth are animal products. So that doesn't have to be a steak. You could eat lamb, you can eat whatever, but you know, men used to go out and kill things all the time and eat them, you know, bloody and raw, by the way. This is
Right.
the way primal we've developed for, you know, tens of thousands of years, millions of years. But if you just go 25,000 years ago, kill it, ate a lot of it raw, and a lot of shamanistic people will still do that. There are a lot of really sacred hunters that will still do like eat the heart right now as a way of, you know, this is all tribal cultures have always done this, always.
Well,
That
for
was a
what it's worth,
sacred
when I
moment.
kill deer, I always eat the heart because it's like a tradition that was passed down for me from my uncle. So I take the
Do
heart.
you do it raw or do you cook it?
No, I cook it. I'm not that
Okay.
quite savage,
All
but I
right.
do cook. I do cook it.
That'd be that. Well, let's up level you. Let's make that tea go bigger, baby. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
right. Ah,
Try it.
Hannibal
I've seen
Lecter
I've seen
style.
pictures of 13-year-old girls doing it with their daddies.
Right,
So
right. No, I mean I haven't
I
even
haven't
thought
done
about
it.
that. You know.
That's pretty. See, that's beautiful, right? So that's a beautiful. That's very primal, old school way. A very connected, reverent to, um, you know, the life force of the animal. So there's a lot of tribal ways of doing that. You know, men used to have a lot of rites of passage in our way, our culture of this, and going out and being competent to hunt and kill, protect, you know, the pack and bring, you know, nourishment and survival to the pack. We don't have that anymore, and I think that's a real big problem for men in general. These boys turning into men, they don't know what's the rite of passage. A really expensive car,
Yeah.
you know, money,
Right.
a
Right.
rap deal. That's a social media. What's your Instagram following? That's a male rite of passage now.
Yeah.
It's it's not normal.
Right.
So don't be a vegetarian. Eat a lot of meat. Eat. Men need, you know, 9 times the amount of zinc that I need. It's
Right.
really high in red meat. You know, so you need more fat than I need. You need more zinc than I. There's differences, you know, to make testosterone than all my estrogen and progesterone. Lift heavy stuff. You need to start throwing weights around, guys. Forget the cardio, forget all that nonsense. I don't care if it's flipping logs in a lumberjack competition. I think ways of primal movement for men, of doing real things and kind of war movements like wrestling and boxing and jujitsu, grappling, whatever, take you back to using your body the way it was designed and builds muscle naturally. So it doesn't have to be boring like lifting weights, because if you're trying to throw a 400-pound or 300-pound guy over your shoulder and pin him to the ground, you'll be lifting weights, right?
Right.
You know, go back to doing your own yard work or something. You know, I'm just giving you an idea. Absolutely be avoiding those estrogen really dominant things like soy. Men should avoid it like the plague. Flax, I don't see any reason why a man should needs to eat a flax seed for anything. I'm not a big fan of walnuts for the same thing. White bread, that was things like, you know, high estrogen. I would stop drinking bottled water. I would avoid buying bottled water just in times of crisis and travel if you need to. But in general, plan ahead. Use a glass or stainless steel, bottle. Not even
Right.
these BPA free. That's not true. None of that is. Those plastic things are not safe. There might be 1 or 2 that are good enough on the market. But if that water bottle, for instance, you leave it in your car and it got hot, you better throw it out. Put it on a plant. Do not drink it. You don't heat up things, Tupperware, microwave, plastic. Don't drink out of a styrofoam cup. You're really jacking up your hormones
Okay.
deeply, deeply. And then, so that's the way to kind of avoid a little bit of, you know, shorter eating window. And by that is just like 8 hours, like eat like a normal person. Don't eat really, really long. We call that intermittent fasting. I just call it normal eating. I hate the phrase.
Yeah.
That will raise those hormones for you, those recovery hormones. Those are some pretty decent tips, right?
Okay.
For how to
Yeah.
handle
No,
it.
that's perfect. That's actually very in depth. And lastly, I think a perfect way to close is I believe you're writing a book, or you're about to publish a book. I believe you have
Yeah,
a.
I'm not ready to publish. Okay,
Okay.
so let me
Okay.
say. So
Hold
listen,
on to
I
that.
wish. So no. So I am writing a book. So let me tell you really quick.
Yeah.
I do see a lot of male patients, and you know, I can connect and relate to them. I see everything, but more women. Women drive the healthcare in a family. But men, I do really well with the ones that resonate with me. I think like a man in many ways. They can finally hear stuff I say. For some reason, they can finally hear what I say and do it. Like I can convince men to go home and do coffee enemas. So they kind of go, "My wife loves you because you got me to put coffee up my ass." I said, "I did, but don't you feel better?" They go, "I feel amazing. Those are the best. I don't tell my buddies I do them yet, but like I eat steak and do coffee enemas and I feel," and they're like, "Look at my 6-pack." I'm like, "Gotcha." Right. So men are fast and easy. Actually, you're really compliant patients. And I was inspired. It was a year ago deciding to write this book where I was like, okay, that's kind of this target market I want to go after. And let me just go after this. They're a little bit, you guys, your physiology is a little bit easier than women to begin with. But it kind of came from, I wanted to write. My son was in a severe health crisis, and we're still dealing with recovering him. And I said, you know, and I was really sick too from this. And I said, you know, if I were to drop dead tomorrow, what is a legacy or lesson I've left to him? What will he remember, because he's only, you know, 11 or whatever, like. And I've got blogs and I got videos and this and that, but I said, no, I need to write basically a how-to manual to my son. How to create yourself to construct yourself into the superhero. Because I do believe every man is a potential superhero. You've just forgotten. And your parents or society or whatever have beaten it out of you. So basically, I started off with the title is something like, you know, man up, 7 key steps to become the Superman your kids think you are. So it's kind of written to married men, basically with kids that are like, your kid thinks you're Superman or Batman. Like, why don't you actually be that? Yeah. So you have the capability to respond to anything. Being capable is able to respond. So I want my son to have the physical strength, the mental prowess, the emotional stability that he will run into a burning building to save someone's life.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for. I want no question that if somebody were to confront or threaten me when he's a grown man, he has zero problem jumping in front of them and putting them in their place and possibly saving my life and the life of other women in the area. So I have to tell him that, like, one day, my job is to protect him now, but when, like your kids, one day they're going to be bigger and stronger than you, and we're going to need them to protect us. Yeah. And I tell them that. I said, it's your responsibility. It's your duty to stay in shape. It's your duty to be competent. And I want him to be emotionally stable. And there's so many men that are lost right now and hurt and enraged and doing some, violent acts that I don't think are a part of the normal makeup of men. I think they are not being taken care of in the healthcare landscape the way they'd like to be. So it's kind of like to a man like you, you know a little bit about health, you're interested in it, and your why is, I want to be the best man, father, and husband, and son and brother. It's written, it's to you guys. So the book is really hard. This is hard writing a book, let me tell you. So I have the whole outline in several chapters, and things happen in life. So I've decided to start a men's group, a monthly men's group on Facebook, where basically I'm going to go through my chapters and the 7 chapters and use that kind of as a process that helped me get the book done and test stuff on you guys and teach you things kind of chapter by chapter. And see how it goes. And if it goes real well and things are going great, it'll give me the time and even the financial resources to dedicate, because it takes, like $15,000 to actually kind of write a book and publish it yourself if you're not getting paid.
Do you mean a Facebook group?
Yeah, so I'm doing a Facebook group, and it starts October 21st.
Okay.
It's already have the page. So, and I have a landing page. You guys can go look at it, and it's going to be $19 a month, and you can stop anytime. But I'm pre-selling it. So in the pre-launch, if you guys use a code, you can get it for $9 a month, lifetime, and you can stop anytime. So I love people who jump in and take action with me. Like my women's group, I started that, and it was $97 for 12 weeks, and now it's $197. It's going to go to $227. I'm going to raise the prices on things. If something's a winner, I'm going to raise the price, but I'm going to test it out. So it's $9 if you use the code RIMKAMEN, and we start October 21st.
$9 a month to be a part of the private group.
To be a part of my private group, where I will go on at least live at least once a week. I will probably go more and educate on, basically blow up the lies and bullshit and the myths that you think that your doctor, so you don't have to be afraid to go to the doctor and say, when they say, oh, here, take a statin, and you're like, I don't know if I should do this or not. Right. Or my blood pressure, I don't know what to do. And guys don't like to go to the doctor, so you maybe let things go a little bit longer than they need to go. So I'm going to teach you the things, it's not just about libido and good sex and a big hard dick, but that's important. Sorry. That'll happen too. But if I get you, right. I'm going to stop, what do you call it? Bitch tits and soft dicks, basically. So, but it's more than that. It's about really having the freedom. I really respect helping men to have a space to find their masculinity, to be warriors, to move into that. So it's kind of for a guy just like you, a beginner to moderate guy who's interested in stuff. It's not really a peak performer. I'm not going into deep biohacks and crazy stuff and, crazy nootropics and all this other. Those are more for patients, more private, custom.
Guy who wants to
average guy. Who's confused at the stuff, but he wants to lose a little bit. He's like, I am tired. I want to lose a little bit of weight. Doesn't need it to be hard. I'm entertaining. I'm funny. I get to the point. I will break up myths, answer questions. I have so many men that have basically stolen my other course by doing it with their wives and lost a shit ton of weight, feeling amazing. They're sleeping good. They're having sex. I mean, they are. I mean, if I fix your wife to have sex again, you better be able to have sex again. Right, so right. You got to do everybody together, right? So it isn't. Right now, we just call it Dr. Rimka's Men.
Is it open yet? I mean, you're not.
Yeah, so it's on brainandbodyrevolution.org, and there's on that page, there's 3. I'm going to put it, and then you can put it up in there, the actual link to the landing page. That'll just describe what you get. And they aren't even done with the landing page, but it's fine. It's good enough. and it is a buy now. And so if you go in there and you have to, I'll tell you, RIMKAMEN, all caps, I'll put it in there. That gets everybody $10 off a month forever. As long as you're in it, you'll only pay $9 a month. But that code goes away October 21st.
Got it.
That's the pre-sale. We don't start, you'll get an email saying, okay, request to join this Facebook
So if somebody's
group.
watching this replay in December, sorry, it's too late.
Too late.
Right,
It's too late. I might run a special by then, but if you see
Right.
it in December, join. And so anyway, then the whole point is I'm going to be leaking my book. The book outline and my concepts are what are going to drive the content of the course. But of course, I always respond to people in there. And if there's some hot topic that comes up, of course, we're going to cover it. I'm not going to ignore.
Well, I think that's the biggest thing of value for people. And when we spoke earlier, like, I don't want to mention any names, but let's just say certain family members and friends of mine, and they are taking the statins, and they have talked about the impotence, if I could say, and the problems that they have, and the back issues, and the blood pressure medicine. I mean, guys 38, 42, 45 years old, they're acting like they're 60, 70, 80 years old because of all these pharmaceuticals. And it's oh, my doctor said my cholesterol's 201. I got to get on statins. What?
Oh, I have some epic takedown videos of me going after cholesterol. They're going to love me. Bring it.
Better, so they
don't.
And
they don't. They are being lied to.
Yeah.
They're being lied to.
Oh, but if I don't take it, I'm going to have a heart attack. Really?
Yeah.
Who told you that? Oh, my doctor.
Right. And I'm sorry the doctors are being lied to. And many of us know this and many physicians know this. And I already have so many physicians and male therapists and that are already like lined up to do interviews with me in there. So you will get hormone in the group, private. I'm going to have, peak performers. I got NLP experts. I got therapists. I got physicians. I got hormone specialists. These are my friends. They got no problem. Like, come over here, do a little something for me. They're like, no problem.
Let's do an interview, right?
They're all about it. You're like, yeah, of course, because, men want to help men and men want to help me. So let's do it.
Like I said, I know we spoke earlier. You said you were creating a group. I didn't realize it was live already. So count me in. I don't know if I'm number one or what, but count me in. I'll join.
Awesome. You're not. I mean, again, October 21st. I'll put the landing page in and you guys join. And it's doctors and stuff can join all they want, but for all my doctor friends, if you're already this big neuro hacker, you guys, I'm going to keep it for like your patients. So you can send all your patients into the group and I will do a lot of this educating and myth busting for you and explain to them how stupid some of these things are that the doctors are telling. And then arm you with the articles and the research and the books to walk into your doctor with, and or the confidence and the cojones to walk out of that doctor's office and find a new one.
Well, let me say one last thing. I know we got to run here, but one last thing, and this is kind of sorry, a call came in. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So am I frozen? No?
You're frozen, but it's okay.
Okay, so real quick, just one thing, and this just relates to my mom, obviously not for the men's page, Stephanie, but
okay, it's okay.
Like she has, her cholesterol was up supposedly, and then she went on these statins, and she's been having so many physical problems with her back and all these horrible things that are happening to her.
It causes muscle pain like crazy and brain issues. It's the worst.
But she told me, she's like, Brian, I'm afraid to stop it because my doctor said if I don't take it, I'm going to have a heart attack. So it's like, what do you say to somebody like that?
Oh my God. Okay. So... Well, you have to say that we need to arm her with the proper research and cholesterol. So that total cholesterol number has zero causal implication into cardiovascular disease. And any physician who doesn't know that by now, you need to run out of their office. Yeah. That cholesterol theory has been completely disproven. What matters more, the test you need to go get her, again, ratios matter, Brian. Let me say, so it's really her triglycerides, what the LDL ratios are, and a calcium score. You need to go take her and get a calcium score. It's about a $100 test. That really shows, that's the best risk predictor of cardiovascular risk of a heart attack or something like that. And that's important. I can send you, RIMKAMEN has really broken this down in a beautiful way. And there's many low carb, so IVORCUMMINS. He's an engineer actually, so he doesn't come at this like a physician, and he actually solved the whole problem. It's really about insulin with her. So, but if she's already had a lifetime of damage, okay, let's see where we are. But let me just say this, in 1950, the cholesterol normal number was 300. They keep lowering it to sell more statins.
Wow.
That's straight up the problem. So I don't see a 250 level. People say, "Oh, my cholesterol sky high." I say, "What is it?" They go 230. I'm like, "Are you shitting me?"
Wow.
And for women in particular, the higher cholesterol number it's in women show all-cause mortality goes down in women. So dying from anything with higher, if you have higher, you don't die from anything less than everybody else. And it protects the brain from dementia and Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, things like that, neurodegenerative stuff. Hello, I mean, that's the important thing. Wow. So I don't know what sky high means. I look at it was 500. I mean, what are they talking about?
Right.
Okay. So they'll say it's high, but again, if this was 1955 and it was 275, they would have said totally normal, because statins didn't exist back then, by the way.
Right.
So we've gone from 300 being normal to 200 being normal. Do you see how many more people they can sell drugs to?
Oh yeah.
And statins are the number one moneymaker of any pharmaceutical in our history.
Well, this could be a whole separate live, and I heard the same thing.
Yeah, I do tons
with
of
blood pressure and the blood pressure medicine, same thing. Like right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then their whole lie about salt having any implication. No, it doesn't. It has zero implication. And actually taking the salt away from you is probably making it worse. It's really, their advice is typically opposite of what's going to keep you safe, and it's going to endanger you and make it worse. They are lies that are hurting people. They're not simple little things anymore. It's dangerous. And you need to be armed with information, and thanks to the internet, things are changing, and a lot of doctors are getting vocal about it because we have social media now. We didn't used to have this, we couldn't afford a TV commercial, but we can do this.
Right.
And we can get these groups. But yeah, you go.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Please put your link below, like I said, and we'll obviously I'll be joining that. Thank you for your time tonight, Dr. Rimka.
You're welcome.
Let's do this again real soon. We'll cover another topic, okay?
Absolutely.
All
we
right,
can talk about your mom the whole time if you want.
We'll talk about her. Yeah, she'll tune in. She wasn't on tonight, but she'll tune in for that one.
Get me her last